Trial and error. Trial and error is one of the oldest and most straightforward problem-solving methods. You essentially keep testing solutions until you find one that works. It's like figuring out how to reset a gadget without reading the manual. You try button combinations, check the cables, and tweak settings until it magically starts working again. This method can be incredibly effective when you're dealing with hands-on issues or when there's no one right solution. But be warned, it's not the most efficient way, especially when the possibilities seem endless. Some situations, like baking, might call for trial and error to perfect a recipe. Maybe your cake collapses because you used too much liquid or didn't bake it long enough, so you tweak those elements next time. The downside of this approach is time. When there are too many variables to test, it can feel like wandering around in the dark without a map. However, the beauty of trial and error is that even failures offer valuable lessons, steering you closer to success. Breaking it down. Breaking down. A problem into smaller parts makes the impossible feel doable. Picture it like building a giant Lego set. If you only focus on the final massive structure, it seems overwhelming. But when you take it piece by piece, you suddenly start to see progress. Let's say you're planning a big event. There's catering, guest lists, music, decorations. The list goes on. By focusing on each task individually rather than the whole event at once, you simplify things and reduce stress. This method also works wonders for studying. Instead of cramming for an entire exam at once, you break the material into chunks, mastering one topic at a time. It not only makes tasks manageable, but it also builds momentum. The more tasks you check off, the more motivated you become. It's like clearing levels in a video game, one step closer to victory. Root cause. Analysis. This method is all about digging deep, asking why over and over again until you find the real source of the problem. Think of it like detective work. When something goes wrong, you don't just address the surface issue, you get to the root of it. For example, imagine you're constantly late to work. The immediate cause might seem like, I didn't wake up on time. But why? Digging deeper, you realize it's because you go to bed too late, which itself might be caused by working late or spending too much time on your phone before bed. Once you identify the true root, like needing better sleep habits, you can address it and make lasting changes. This method can save a lot of frustration because you're not just putting a band-aid on the problem. You're eliminating it at its core. It's a method businesses use all the time to avoid future issues and can be incredibly effective in personal life too. Brainstorming. When you need ideas, brainstorming lets you unleash creativity without fear of judgment. The key is not to filter yourself. Sometimes the wildest ideas, like solving global warming by putting mirrors in space, lead to breakthroughs, or at the very least, they get the creative juices flowing. You're encouraged to list every idea, even if it sounds ridiculous at first. For example, imagine you're planning a marketing campaign. Someone suggests a crazy idea like, let's create a superhero mascot. While the mascot itself might not be feasible, that idea could spark others, leading to a unique and memorable campaign. Brainstorming works best in a group, where one idea bounces off another, but it's also useful when working alone. It's especially effective for creative problem-solving, where logic alone doesn't always lead to the best solutions. It's the birthplace of innovation. Work backwards. Working backwards is all about starting with the end in mind. This approach is perfect when you're clear on the result, but unclear on how to get there. It's like reverse engineering a puzzle. Say you want to start a successful business. Begin by picturing the end result, a profitable, well-established company. Now, work backwards. What steps did you need to take to get there? Did you need a business plan, investors, a solid marketing strategy? By focusing on the goal and retracing your steps, you can identify the actions needed to reach that goal. It's a particularly useful strategy for planning, whether it's for a vacation or a large project. By figuring out the final outcome first, you avoid the common mistake of drifting aimlessly or overlooking crucial steps. Plus, this method can help uncover challenges early on, making it easier to navigate them when they arise. Lateral thinking. Lateral thinking encourages you to abandon the usual path and find unconventional solutions. Imagine you're trying to unlock a door but the keyhole is jammed. Instead of fiddling with the key, lateral thinking might suggest trying a window or calling a locksmith from the other side of the building. It's about viewing the problem from a completely new angle. This approach is famous for generating aha moments. For example, think about the classic riddle. A man lives on the 10th floor and takes the elevator down every morning, but only rides it halfway up when he returns, walking the rest of the way. Why? The lateral answer. He's too short to reach the 10th floor button. This thinking bypasses traditional logic, leading to breakthroughs that wouldn't occur through linear thinking alone. It's particularly powerful for creative challenges, but it can also be applied to everyday problems when typical solutions just aren't working. SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is a decision-making framework that looks at a problem from 4 angles: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Imagine you're deciding whether to take a job offer. The strength might be the higher salary, the weakness could be the longer commute, the opportunity is career growth, and the threat could be the potential for burnout. By analyzing each area, you get a clearer picture of the full scope of the decision. This method helps you weigh risks and rewards in a structured way, making it easier to make decisions that feel informed. While often used in business, it can be applied to anything, from choosing a university to planning a move. It forces you to consider not just the positives, but also the downsides and potential challenges ahead, giving you a more balanced view of the problem. Mind mapping. Mind mapping is like creating a visual roadmap of your thoughts. You start with a central idea and branch out into related topics, subtopics, and connections. For example, if you're trying to solve a time management problem, you might start with daily schedule in the center and branch out into categories like morning routine, work tasks, breaks, and evening activities. From each branch, you can further break it down into actionable steps. This method helps with both clarity and creativity, allowing you to see the bigger picture while also highlighting specific details. It's particularly useful for brainstorming, planning, or organizing complex projects. The visual layout of a mind map can also trigger ideas and connections that you might not have thought of if you were just making a list. Heuristic method. The heuristic method is all about finding quick, practical solutions that aren't perfect, but get the job done. When you don't have time for thorough research, you rely on experience and rules of thumb. It's like when you're trying to estimate how much food to make for a party. You don't calculate exact portions for each guest. You use general experience, like knowing that people will usually have seconds of a favorite dish. The heuristic approach sacrifices perfection for speed and efficiency, which is why it's great for decision-making under pressure. It's often used in everyday life without us even realizing it, like when we choose a parking spot based on gut feeling, rather than calculating which spot will save us the most time. While it doesn't always lead to the best solution, it's often good enough when speed is more important than accuracy. Visualization. Visualization taps into the power of your imagination to solve problems and achieve goals. Athletes famously use it before big games, mentally practicing their performance. But it's also an incredibly useful technique for everyday challenges. Picture yourself solving the problem before you start, whether it's acing an interview or delivering a presentation. By visualizing the steps and the end result, you mentally prepare yourself for success. Studies have shown that visualization actually helps improve performance because it primes your brain for the task. The more vividly you can imagine the process, the more your brain believes it can achieve it. So next time you're stuck, take a moment to close your eyes and visualize the solution. Sometimes, seeing it in your mind is the first step to making it happen. Whether you're breaking down a big task, thinking outside the box, or visualizing your success, there's a method here that can help solve even the toughest problems. You don't need to stick to just one approach. Often, the best solutions come from combining different strategies. So next time you're faced with a tricky situation, try out a few of these techniques and see what works best for you. And that's a wrap on the major problem-solving strategies. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another breakdown. Thanks for watching, and good luck solving your next big challenge. Also, if you've got any ideas for the next video that you want to see, write them in the comments. I'll make sure to do it.